Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for today's Healthline 3. I'm Courtney Butts, your host, and Healthline 3 is where we like to focus on ways to live a healthier, happier, and pain-free life. We'll be taking your calls and answering your questions live in the studio today. We'll be opening those phones soon, but as a reminder, make sure you're in a quiet room when you call with your TV turned all the way down so that we can hear your question. That number to call is 318-219-4569, and today's topic is weight loss and wellness. And I have Irina and Catherine Rogers here with me from Shed It Weight Loss and Wellness. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So I'm excited to talk with you guys about, one of the biggest things that we talked about, maybe even in our midday newscast, is summer's almost over. We're almost there, and it already feels like fall. And a lot of times this is like maybe another new year, like a lot of people are back in school and they're focusing on their health again.
Yeah.
Have you seen maybe a difference with people wanting to get back in the swing of things?
I would actually say it's maybe one of the slower seasons of the year. I think a lot of people are maybe trying to jump now on the bandwagon to get ready for the holidays.
Yes.
So I think it's the start now. August was busy getting the kids back to school, getting back from vacation, starting the routine.
Yeah.
But I think now is a good time to start back on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you're already back in your routine. Your kids are settled. So now it's a good time to focus on yourself and maybe your weight loss goals if you have them, or just your wellness goals in general. So, so tell me, what can Shed It offer for these people that maybe are just wanting to get back into the swing of things and focus on their health?
Yeah, so we offer all kinds of weight loss products. We have, of course, the popular injections called semaglutide and tirzepatide. We can also offer prescriptions of Ozempic or Mounjaro to patients who qualify. So you need to be you need to have a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes to get those prescriptions. And then we also have Qsymia, which is an oral option.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, and so it's great for people that maybe don't want to do the injection. Okay, and so you are the co-owner, and CEO, kind of visionary.
I mean, I wear many hats.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and Catherine, you are a physician assistant, and so you can kind of talk a little bit more, speak to the way that these medications work with people.
Yeah, so that we have the semaglutide and the tirzepatide. That is the compounded version of the Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro. They are GLP class of medicines. They work in a couple of different ways. They work by receptors on your pancreas to help produce more insulin, to basically help better regulate your blood sugar. So it helps your body, store or know what to store versus what to burn. Helps to kind of quiet that food, hungry, craving noise in our head. And they physically work. They slow stomach and GI motility, so you're able to feel fuller sooner and then longer.
Yeah.
So like you said earlier, really using these as a tool to help with weight loss, getting in that calorie deficit, making better decisions as far as what our meals are, focusing on protein, things like that, to really help us achieve these weight loss goals.
Yeah, and that's what I love about you guys, is that you really encourage lifestyle change with taking the injections. And we'll talk a little bit later, and we see a lot of stuff on our coffee table here, and we'll talk a little bit more about ways to maybe also incorporate good nutrition. You guys have somebody on staff that will be able to help your people or your patients as well, and how important that is, and probably some of the outcomes that you have seen from someone actually changing their lifestyle versus just taking the medications.
It's really about the sustainability and the maintenance. As you said, the weight loss medication is a tool, but to really keep the weight off and stay healthy, I think it is eminent to get better nutrition and also exercise.
Absolutely.
These are really the two pillars.
Yeah, okay. And so tell me a little bit about some patients that you guys have seen walk through your doors, and maybe some of their testimonials. We do have some pictures as well, and we'll get to those. We'll see those in just a second. Here they are. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about maybe what you've seen before and after, when they come to you, and then after working with you.
So the majority of the patients that come to us are really at the end of their rope. They have tried multiple fat diets, may have lost some weight before with keto, but most of the time it's just yo-yo. It keeps coming back. I would not say that all of them are depressed, but there are some people that are really not happy with themselves, with the way they look, with the way they feel, get tired quickly, don't sleep well, So it's a lot of these symptoms. And then when they start the injections, the good thing with those injections is they work rather fast. So you see results really within the first 2-3 weeks, which motivates you because you finally find something that really helps you. And also for the majority of our patients, the side effects are really minor. So when they stay with us for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, they are very close to the goal that they wanted to reach, and they feel much better. They sleep better. Some of them can get off their medications for high blood pressure, for instance. It's really, also when you see the before and after pictures, a lot of people don't want to show their face, but you see how they smile. Like, it's this genuine, confident smile, and that's what I want to see.
Yeah, and a lot of times it can be maybe rooted in the self-esteem, like you
Yes.
mentioned, and it can really boost their confidence in themselves and their view of themselves. So it's not
Exactly.
just about the weight loss; it's
Right.
other things. So, Catherine, tell me those side effects you mentioned, minor, that from what you've seen from your patients. What are those side effects that people should be aware of?
So really, because it's working in the GI tract like it does, I tell everybody, to watch out for GI side effects. Some people have nausea, some people have, heartburn, indigestion type symptoms. More people, I would say, have constipation. Some people on the other side of that have diarrhea. But really just anything in that stomach and gastrointestinal tract. And then every time that we sit down or start somebody on these, we also have just a list of ways to avoid this, increasing water intake, increasing fiber intake, things that we can do to try to offset any symptoms or not have any at all. So, there's always a discussion about what could happen and then how to best avoid that or troubleshoot that if we, do see some of those.
Yeah, and just because these are side effects doesn't mean it'll affect, affects maybe people differently.
Right.
So, just consulting with you for sure. So with it, in every step of the process, you all are there to help them if they do have those side effects and maybe, like you said, troubleshoot. So, okay, good. So with these medications, you mentioned you have the oral option versus the injection.
Yeah.
What do you see most people maybe gravitate towards?
I think because of the popularity of the injections, the majority of the people tend to have either semaglutide or tirzepatide injections. Out of budget reasons, there is a couple of patients who opt, for instance, for Qsymia or extended release phentermine. There's also oral semaglutide. We have a couple of patients who used it, but the majority of them, they would like the injections.
Yeah,
yes.
okay. Do you notice a difference? And then with the oral, you have to take that every day.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it might be, with the injections, just once a week. It is a needle, but it's just once a week, so it's probably easier to remember and keep up with.
Yeah.
Do you notice differences as far as weight loss with oral versus injection?
I would say for long-term and sustainable weight loss, the injections are probably a better route. Like she mentioned, sometimes there's a cost factor. It's a hard economy and just time right now. There's also certain reasons why some people can't be on our oral options, such as high blood pressure, things like that. So it's always, a consult with myself or the medical director to see what is a good fit for everyone and then going from there. But in general, for people that have a larger amount of weight to lose or they're wanting to look at being on something more long term, we do lean more towards injections or the GLP class than the oral options.
Gotcha. Well, we have our first caller today. Jerry, thank you so much for joining us. And what is your question?
Oh, yes. My question is that I was wanting to know whether or not that I was reading something online. I was reading something online on a medical website saying that Ozempic could cause thyroid cancer. Have they even heard of anything like that going on?
So there are two reasons why people cannot be on these medicines. If anybody's had a history of specifically medullary thyroid cancer, that is a contraindication to this. I think there were some causes. That's not general thyroid cancer, that's specifically that subset of medullary thyroid cancer. Or if people have history of multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. So that's always a question too before we start on any of these medications. So if, Mr. Jerry, if you've had a history of thyroid cancer, we would dig much deeper into that see specifically what type it was to see if that was safe or not.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really actually give you thyroid cancer, or maybe possibly give you thyroid cancer. You just have to have a history of it.
Right. If you have any kind of history of that, then that's a contraindication, and then we would look further into what type that was and then see. But I think that they're just, because there were certain, ties between this type of medication and that medullary thyroid cancer, that's why that's specific.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any other diseases you should watch out for, like if you've ever had any diseases, then would you have
the medullary thyroid cancer and the history of multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. We also do dive further into if people have had like gastroparesis, pancreatitis, things like that. But the two specifics that are contraindicated are the two, medullary thyroid cancer and multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2.
And you have to be 18.
Okay, what about surgery, like gallbladder surgery or anything like that? Does that affect taking Ozempic?
No.
Ozempic pills?
No, gallbladder surgery, we have a lot of people that have had that before. It might make some of those GI symptoms worse once we don't have a gallbladder, but then, again, we talk about how to try to avoid those and things like that.
Okay, just one more question. Does Ozempic pills come in different milligrams, and you just start off as the lower milligram?
Yes, so they start out at different doses. We start everybody on the lowest dose, whether we do injection or oral options. There are certain milligrams that, convert into different units. So we do start at a low dose, see how we're tolerating everything. We try to stay on a lower dose, or just as we need to, but as we see, symptoms or success or plateaus or different things, we adjust your dosing.
And I said that was the last question, but there is one more question. What insurance takes care of that type of weight loss program?
So insurance, unfortunately, only pays for Ozempic or Mounjaro. That's the brand name prescription when you are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. There is the brand names Wegovy and Zepbound. So if your employer put these on the list of your health insurance, then it would be covered too. But unfortunately, at this point, it is very rare. It's very rare that employer cover this.
Okay, as far as weight loss program, no insurance takes care of it?
Unfortunately, not at this point, no. I mean, you can call your insurance. You can reach out to your insurance and ask specifically if Wegovy and Zepbound are covered. These are the two FDA-approved weight loss drugs by the manufacturer, by the brand name manufacturer. And if your health insurance qualifies, or if you're qualified for that, we can write you the prescription.
I'm sorry, you said Wegovy?
It's called Wegovy, W-E-G-O-V-Y. Wegovy, and the other one is Zepbound.
It starts with a Z.
Z-E-P-B-O-U-N-D, Zepbound.
Okay, so those two drugs are different than Ozempic?
Well, it's basically the same drug. However, Ozempic and Mounjaro are for diabetes, and Wegovy and Zepbound are for weight loss. But it's the same manufacturer.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, and you have a good day.
You're so welcome.
Thank you,
You
Jerry.
too. Thank you.
Yeah, and he brings up a good point. Everybody's question, I'm sure, is does insurance cover it, which you just answered, but you guys also offer it at a cheaper, compounded.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
We get it from a compounding pharmacy. It's basically the same ingredients, but it's not the brand name manufacturer. It's compounded. Yes.
Yeah, so that is an option. It helps cut down on costs instead of buying the brand name Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, and Mounjaro. You can do that compounded version. It's
Correct.
the same thing. You're getting the same thing. It's just kind of like brand name versus off-brand, right?
Correct.
And
Correct. That's really in easy words. Yeah. That's
okay,
exactly
right.
Yeah.
And so that's something that can you break it down, like the tiers of what people can maybe expect? Like maybe when they're starting, it's probably gonna be a different pay or price range versus ramping up the milligrams?
So we actually started offering microdose now for both semaglutide and tirzepatide. So our pricing is very competitive now and starts at $199 for semaglutide. Then you have different tiers, and it goes up to $599, but only when you're at the highest dose. And tirzepatide, the microdose starts at $299 and then goes up to $799 per month.
A month. Okay. And the difference between semaglutide and tirzepatide, there is a little bit of a difference, correct? If you want to maybe explain that, Catherine.
Yeah, so those are both those GLP class of medicines working on those GLP receptors in your pancreas. The semaglutide is specific to one of those receptors, whereas the tirzepatide is specific to two of those receptors. So they're working similarly in the same way, but the tirzepatide does work on a second of those GLP receptors.
Right. Okay. And you typically will see a little bit more weight loss, kind of than semaglutide, classically. And that's probably why it's maybe a little bit more of that higher price range. You're just working on two versus one.
It's just a little bit more specific to those receptors, so we can see some more weight loss. And that's always a discussion. A lot of times, if we know somebody has a good amount of weight to lose or they're looking to be on it a long time, we'll start with that semaglutide. See, get good results. See, and then if we either have a lot of symptoms, like I was saying earlier, or if we reach a plateau or we just kind of feel like we're not hitting the goals that we want to per month, then we'll switch over to that tirzepatide and then see if we do better, with that. So
yeah, okay, good. Options you can always change and increase, decrease. So take me through, let's say I'm a new patient and I want to get established. Take me through that process. Like, what does that look like? Who do I talk to first? How do I get started? And then, go from there.
Yeah, so we we'll have a new patient appointment. We have a medical director or myself, a PA. Our medical assistant will actually, check you in, get vital signs, go over your home medicines, past medical history, and then once you see one of the providers, we do the same thing, review medication lists, surgeries, medical history, things like that. Get to know, just establish kind of what your baseline is right now as far as exercise and activity, where we might struggle with our diet, what our weight loss goals are. And then we come up with, according to how much weight we need to lose, our baseline activity level, and what our current diet is, how to start making those changes, what medication to add on to start to reach those goals, and then we go from there. So then each month is a check-in or reestablishment on how the month went, if we had any symptoms, how well we did with weight loss, if we need to make dose changes, and then really, really starting to try to tweak that, increasing just walking, cardiovascular exercise, strength training, things like that, and then really trying to tailor it on that diet as far as increasing that protein goal, good fiber in our diet, complex carbs. I tell everybody, everything in moderation. We don't want to cut out a whole food group if we can't sustain that, because it is all about sustainability and long term, how we think that we can eat forever so that we don't see the yo-yo again or weight gain or things like that as we try to get off of the medication.
I love that, and I love that you guys have a comprehensive approach versus just, here's your injection, good luck, see you in 6 months or whatever, or see you next month. And so you also have a meal prep option, right, on site. So that's really, it helps people maybe adhere to a healthy diet versus, totally changing everything. So tell me a little bit more about that.
So we actually work with Glow Alchemy Kitchen. They're our partner. And they have a brand new meal prep menu always on Thursdays. You can visit it at glowalchemykitchen.com and meal prep. And she always has at least 10 different options. All of them are delicious. She also focuses on protein and fiber. So it's exactly perfect what you really need.
Yes.
And then you order by Sunday, 3 p.m., and then you can pick it up Mondays at their store.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. And so as a dietitian myself, I love that you guys promote this because it's one thing to lose weight, but we've talked about this all the time, recompositioning. You want to lose the fat, not the muscle. And so the way that you're instructing these people to eat is, really, really beneficial for their long-term outcomes. For sure.
I mean, we are on the same on the same road.
For sure. So we have just you can still call in, but we're going to kind of transition gears here for the last 10 minutes that we have talk about, food and nutrition and ways to properly fuel yourself. So we have some options here, and I made a smoothie for us, and we're going to try it together. But first, we'll kind of talk about what goes in it and maybe the anatomy of a smoothie or a protein shake or whatever, and ways that maybe you guys have seen maybe patients be successful in their journey, things that they've changed. Protein and fiber, I'm sure, is a big part of it. But still feel free to call in. We're just going to kind of switch gears here. And we'll try like a little pre-lunch snack. So yeah, protein and fiber is like a big part of this, and that's kind of what we have here is the protein, fiber, fat, and fun is what the way that I like to describe it a lot of times. And so we've got the shake here. It's kind of like my personal favorite. You can kind of chime in what you guys like to have. Is I love chocolate, so I always like to incorporate that. What are maybe your favorites?
I actually love vanilla.
Vanilla? Oh no!
But, I mean, I like chocolate too, but I usually do
vanilla
because you can do more variations because I like to mix fruits in, and the vanilla is not as overpowering, so that's what I usually do.
That's a good idea too with like a protein powder. If you're looking for a protein powder, maybe go for a vanilla. You can add, it's a blank canvas, if you will. Yeah.
I lean towards the chocolate and peanut butter.
Okay, me too.
This is going to be right up my alley.
And you can do whatever. I usually say start with like a liquid. Maybe that's water's more boring, but you could do milk or like almond milk. It's a little lower in calories, but more protein. You're going to get cow's milk. It's going to have a little bit more protein. I personally like Fairlife just because it's lactose free, and if you do have issues with lactose, then it's a little bit higher in protein. So that's what I started with. And I'll actually post this recipe for everybody, and you guys can also share this as well if you wanted it. And then the fat, the satiating fat comes from the peanut butter, and that's also a plant-based protein. And I also added some cacao powder, which is going to be, that rich, that rich chocolate taste. And I personally love that, but you don't have to add it if you don't want to. And it actually has a little bit more of like benefits, has a little bit of magnesium in there as well, so it's very calming. You're also going to want that fiber. Other ways I didn't add a whole lot of fiber to this smoothie specifically. Ways to add more fiber. You can even add bell peppers to your smoothies. So that's an easy way to do that. And it's kind of a mild flavor, spinach, and of course any kind of fruit. So that's what we have here. And then I have, it's not in a pretty box, but it's my protein powder. And this is actually more of a vanilla base. And so it's going to be like your blank canvas.
Right up my alley.
Yes. And so that has about 30 grams of protein per scoop. So all in all, this will have about, depending on how big your serving size is or your portion size, the serving size will have about 30 or really like 40 to 45 grams of protein.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
We want to opt at least 30, maybe up to 50. That would be ideal.
Yeah.
But for a snack, 30 is good.
Right. And so people that even aren't taking semaglutide, like protein and fiber combination, it gives that similar effect of just like feeling satisfied. Not as much as obviously the medication, but having that in combination with the medication, I'm sure is.
Yeah, protein is your friend for sure, and it definitely helps keep you full longer. Like, I mean, I experienced that myself, and that's why I love protein shakes.
Right. So I guess if maybe someone is still wanting to work with you guys, but maybe they're wanting to start now, and then with the anticipation of, okay, I'm going to start on semaglutide maybe next month, one thing that they can do now is just eat more protein.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and kickstart that and get just into a good habit of that.
And protein, so we keep talking about that. I think a lot of times maybe it might be a little confusing, but it's basically protein's anything from an animal, or like dairy or plant-based proteins as well, like meat, fish, poultry is going to be your really good sources of protein, and then protein supplements as well. So do we want to go ahead and try this?
I do.
Yes,
okay.
Of course.
So I'm going to pour, and then we have honey up here. So this is like our sweetener. You can use stevia, or if you didn't want to add any added sugars, that's probably another thing too. Think about added sugars. It's a lot of added excess calories. So if you wanted to cut back on that, you absolutely could, and just use like stevia or monk fruit. That's a no calorie sweetener. Okay. Ooh. I'm going to get another better shot. Let's see. Okay, so that will be, I'll just put this on the side as mine. And here we go. I'm using my Ninja, so it gives that nice aerated.
It looks very creamy.
It looks like there's a. So I used bananas and strawberries, but you could just use, if you like that banana flavor, you could just use bananas. But yes, very creamy. The Ninja helps, but if you use frozen fruit, that will help get that creamy texture as well. Okay, here we go. Last one. And I think that there's a strawberry that is impacting
obstructing
me.
your
Yes. So that one, I'll let that one be mine. This one's not as pretty. I'll let y'all have the. Okay, I think my strawberry's in the way, so that's fine. This is live TV. Here we go. Okay, there's yours. Cheers.
Well, cheers.
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 Cheers. And let me know what you think.
Very
that
good.
is
Ooh,
delicious.
yum.
Very good.
Very chocolatey, so, which I personally like. So.
I can taste the peanut.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I should have asked. Any peanut allergies? Or you could do almond butter as well, and it gives that nice creamy texture. And it has your protein, fiber, fat, and then a little fun. You know, make whatever fun means to you. Chocolate's my fun, so maybe vanilla. Or
I mean, I like chocolate too. I hope we can inspire some people because this is really delicious.
yeah, and that's a good point. I'm sure Jessica with Glow Alchemy, I'm sure that everything I've seen looks fantastic and tasty.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I think people need to remember is that it doesn't have, you don't have to compromise on taste.
Right. But you don't want to hate what you're eating because then it's hard to stick to.
Exactly.
So it really makes it better if you can eat things that you enjoy, you know, and just make a healthier spin to them.
Absolutely. And one easy thing is, you know, just cutting back on the added sugars. So instead of, you know, adding a ton of, you know, sweetener to it, just cut back and maybe add like a natural sweetener, maybe from fruit that gives you a little bit more fiber, so it's not spiking your sugar as much. So, so yeah. So this is something, and I'll have this on our website today as well. And you know, you guys also have awesome recipes that incorporate protein and fiber to help with people's weight loss journeys. And so, yeah, hopefully today we realize that we can eat really tasty foods while achieving our weight loss goals, and not sacrificing that.
Right.
Still enjoying life.
Exactly,
So.
because this is really what it's about. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. Like if people hate what they're eating, they're not going to continue doing it.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have a couple minutes left. If someone is interested in getting more information and they're like, I am ready, what is the easiest and best way to contact you guys?
The easiest way is probably to just give us a call. Our amazing receptionists, Kelsey and Holly, are available at the office Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, and the number is 318-746-3880. We also have a Facebook and an Instagram page, Shed It on Shed Road. You can also email us at info@shedit.com. And you can actually text the number that I mentioned earlier too, like the 318-746-3880. You can send text messages as well.
And that's pretty easy.
A lot of different ways to contact us.
Okay, so let's say I contact you today. How soon can I see your medical director or someone like Catherine?
I think right now we can definitely get same week appointments.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so we can kind of get it started, especially if someone is motivated.
If you're ready, you want to get in right now. Yes.
Yeah, and they don't want to lose the steam. Okay, and so you're on Shed Road. I've been by, and it's an awesome place, but it's the Purple Door, right?
It's the Purple Door,
yes. Shed It. You also have another location right next door, but it's for men.
Correct. Yeah, it's called Gladiator Men's Health. It also, it focuses on everything what a middle-aged man needs. From weight loss to testosterone replacement therapy to human growth hormone therapy, hair growth treatments.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, and it's right next door, Gray Door. Right.
That's the Gray Door.
Okay,
correct.
Got it. I'm getting it. And then you guys also offer hormone replacement therapy at Shed It as well. Yes. So that's something that you can do in tandem, especially if you notice that you have a lot of issues with your hormones that are maybe impacting your weight loss journey as well. You also offer that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. Shed It, weight loss and wellness. We've got Catherine and Irina here, and there you can basically, if you're ready, you can get in same week appointment. So definitely reach out if you're interested. One more time, that phone number.
318-746-3880.
All right. Okay, well, thanks for joining us. If you missed this, this will be on our website at ktbs.com/healthline3. And we're just going to sit back and finish our smoothies.